Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about why discipline needs critical thinking. So first, I want everybody to think about the role they play in your organization. Are you the middleman? Are you the leader? Or are you just a subordinate and at the bottom of the pyramid? And then kind of look at what your role is in discipline. If you're a manager or the middle person of the group, yes, you have people you need to answer to, but also people answer to you, and you have the ability to punish them if need be. So when we're thinking about punishment, it's always been very black and white. I remember when I was a little kid, a lot of the times, in sports, if I did something wrong, we would run for it. But it's also very important that they learn from their mistakes. That yes, they get punished, but they know what they did wrong and why it was wrong. So in a minute, I'm going to share a clip from Nick Saban, the head football coach at the University of Alabama. And he really talks about why teaching is more important than the punishment. So when kind of looking at why somebody did something wrong, it could have been a lack of judgment. It could have been they just didn't know what is right and what is wrong. And usually if they don't know what's right or what's wrong, that comes from their youth. That comes from those teenage years where everybody's trying to figure out who they are and what they had for guidance then. And then they kind of take that next step in life and, they do something that's wrong and have to be punished for it. But when just punishing somebody, they understand, they know what they did was wrong. So if somebody acts out, on the lacrosse team and we suspend them, well, cool. They learned what they did was wrong, but we did teach them what to do next to make sure that they don't get it wrong again. And you're going to see that Nick Saban, his motto and what he does is not just suspend somebody and get rid of them, but to really work with them to teach them how to be a better person. So when they come back from, a suspension or whatever the punishment may be, they can benefit the group, the team, even more.
I think a lot of people see discipline as punishment, and they want punitive action. Kick the guy off the team. How does that change his behavior? Suspend him for a bunch of games. Well, he did something in March. Now we're going to suspend him for games in September. I mean, where there's a lot of things that you can do in between to help a guy understand or change his behavior.
My first year coaching lacrosse was going to be great, and it was great. Thought it was going to be perfect, nothing wrong. Lose some games, but win more than we lost. Make the playoffs, all great. A week before the season starts, Super Bowl Sunday, a member of our team decided to partake in tipping over the bison with other members of the school outside the Fel Student Center. And instead of kicking him off the team right away, and instead of getting rid of him real quick, the school really thought about what to do to help this individual. So yes, he was punished, and his punishment came from the lacrosse side and the school side. But at the same time, the school understood that they had the responsibility, they had the duty to teach him. As a leader and as an individual who could be a coach, a manager, a business owner, whatever it may be, if you have people that are below you, so if you're like a volunteer coach for a youth team or whatnot, it is important to know that instead of just punishing somebody, let's work with them. Let's make the punishment meaningful so they know what they did was wrong, but also teach them. Don't just yell at them and say, no, you can't do that, but teach them to understand what they did was wrong and how to adjust for it next time. So if you're in that same situation, what to do, how to become a better human being, how to become a better person. So the school really kind of sat down with that model and hoping for that outcome and really found a great way to make him be a better person. And, kind of how do you do that? So you can sit down, you can throw options out there. Yeah, suspend him for this long, make him run this many sprints, allow him to not partake in these fun events. And there's a lot of different outcomes, some easy, some not easy, which are very black and white, plain Jane. They've been happening forever. Every punishment, every disciplinary action kind of comes along that same idea. Sprints, in coaching, sprints, suspensions, if it's at work, somebody showing up late, maybe suspending them, maybe making them work overtime, whatever it may be. But a lot of people don't really look at, the 8 elements of critical thinking, which would be great in coming up with a disciplinary action. So really, instead of kind of looking at the 8 elements as 8 separate elements, the 8 elements of critical thinking kind of make a checklist of what to do when coming up with a disciplinary action. Now, this checklist can be done quickly, or it might take a little bit of time, and you really need to gather your thoughts. But we're just kind of look over these 8 elements just real quick. So the first one is the point of view. So what is your point of view in the situation? So obviously with the kid tipping over the bison, I was his coach, but I was the assistant coach on the team. So obviously the head coach of the team had a different point of view than I had, and the dean and the athletic director had different point of views than the coach and I did. So when we're kind of looking at the point of view, we got to understand what your role is and what the role of others who are involved are. Then you got to look at the purpose. Is the purpose of the punishment just to kind of show face? Is the purpose because it's just always been that way? Or is the purpose really because as a leader, you see an issue that you really want to change? So if somebody showed up late to work, the purpose of punishment might be to show them that it's not okay to show up late from work. But another purpose might be that you want to understand and kind of get to know this person better and why you're showing up late. What can be done to benefit you and benefit us. Then the next step would be question the individual. Now, I don't mean interrogate the individual. I mean look at the individual and their past. Is this something that happens all the time? Is this a once in a while thing? Has this never happened before? Kind of look at, who is this person? What can we do to help them? Then we got to look at the data, all the parties involved. Do I need to, do more research? Do I need to talk to my higher ups for their input because they might have more data than I do? The next one is probably one of the most important ones you can do, because by this stage, you know what you want to do, is to look at the outcome. Look at the outcome of what you believe will happen, not what you hope will happen. So by doing that, you will see that, if we apply this punishment, then the individual will do this and then grow and learn and become this type of person. And that's really what you want to do here. And then we really want to look at the past, see if this has happened before, if there's a standard. If there's a standard and a normal punishment already, we want to go with that one. And lastly, the last two kind of combine together. Look at the assumptions, well-beings of others, as well as the positive and negative of the punishment. So if, you are, let's say, part of a firefighting team, and the captain has to suspend one individual for an action they had. Well, yeah, it's great that you suspended them, but what is the impact that one suspension has on the whole entire unit? Now that unit's man down, that unit needs to overwork, that unit needs to overcome a hole in their team. So by looking at this, you can critically think of ways to teach an individual instead of just kind of punishing them and moving on, because as a leader, our goal is to teach them how to become a better person, but also you will be able to make sure that the punishment you apply on that one individual or in a small group will affect the whole organization to the point where the organization's well-being is at risk. So the analysis and the evaluation of a situation in order to form better judgment is important in all disciplinary action. And that is basically just what critical thinking is. Thank you very much.